Good day, America. Stand by for some EVTV news. Danu, it's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been several weeks. We've had some rough weather back here at EVTV. I'm your host, Richard Flingy, and we're going to get to some very pertinent topics today. The stock market, some of the new movement in the EV market that we feel is important, as well as a little bit of the energy crisis and the impact of the local weather. But first, I would like to start off to let you know, Danu, I've been vaccinated. I got both of my shots. They're a pretty good sized needle, so you know. And I did suffer. I felt it. It was a painful situation, but I'm very thankful that I did. I encourage everybody. I had to wait for a few minutes. You know, it took probably 45 minutes altogether, but I've received my vaccination. So
Nice.
I'm good to go. And so, you know, I'm high risk. I've had some heart issues younger in my life. So hopefully that particular issue will be over soon and America can get back to normal. I noticed on the news today that Texas is kind of reducing some of the restrictions.
Yeah, the cases here in Cape also have just tanked.
They're
They've come
going way down.
So hopefully soon we'll be back to normal. Our 2-week quarantine, it's been a year, but hopefully we are getting back very soon.
So anyhow, now were you one of the game stoppers, short sellers? Did you get in on that?
I wish I found that Reddit channel before. They were talking about it and they got it skyrocketing. I mean, they found out that shorts were that some people were shorting the stock, and they published the news and got more people involved in it. And then it just started that chain reaction where people kept buying it, prices going up, and then the short sellers, like Jack used to say, the last one out the door had to take the big bite. So
it cascaded down. It was a very interesting event in which people consolidated information very quickly to each other and were able to bump a stock price up.
Yep.
And it was a nifty game, and I suppose the big establishment caught on to it.
Yeah.
They kiboshed it. I would say that it does raise a few concerns about free market liquidity when they restricted the ability to buy a stock.
Yes.
So,
I have a Robinhood account, so I was kind of monitoring this kind of close. And soon as the prices kept going up and all the markets were starting to get crazy, they stopped the buying and they only allowed to sell, which kind of looked like they were helping the rich guys and only wanting the people to sell so the price comes down.
Yeah.
But I was reading reports, and Robinhood kind of published it themselves too, that they just couldn't afford to buy more stocks for the customers, so that's why they had to cut it down. But it's
I don't know, smells fishy to me.
Smells
But
fishy.
it was something that Elon Musk has spoke about for years, about short selling. They have nothing in basic economic interest other than their own self-greed and profit. It does not help a company. It really doesn't help our economy. They literally drive a stock up, which fools dummies out in the world, like in the Midwest or whatever, that don't have the market savvy and can be fooled. And they give them their hard-earned money, and they rapidly take it from them with glee. And he is basically exactly right. And I urge you to, if you ever have a conversation with your congressman, stockbroker, whoever, short selling is not a healthy event for any company. And it was very exasperated in public view. But the truth was, that whole situation, those people were driven by greed. Yeah, and it was not because it was a good company.
They were betting for the companies to fail. I mean, GameStop was just one of them. There was Nokia, there was AMC, the cinema company. They had so many stocks they had to stop because people were all trying to get in on it and for the short sellers. But I think we should put Jack's video, on the description, we should put the link for it, where Jack talked about the shorts for Tesla and how
they got burnt.
Yeah, the price, it started skyrocketing. It was last year around this time when we went from $400 to $1,500 in just a couple of weeks. So
and the short sales were going everywhere, and literally trying to buy time on CNBC to try to say something negative so they can make the event happen. They were literally trying to speak something into existence, and that really was to drive a stock down of a company that is performing and provided value-added products to the public consumption, employment of people, people's 401ks, all that kind of stuff. And they are driven just simply by greed. So keep that one in your hat. Where's Tesla at today?
Oh, it's been coming up. What did you see?
679.
679. It kind of
Still
went
very
up higher.
solid. I'm still sticking with my prediction. It's the new Apple. The stock and the PE ratio may seem conflated, but as long as it keeps over the long haul increasing a general revenue increase, it's just going to keep growing and growing. And it's selling big ticket items, and cars are big tickets. The solar systems are big systems. When all this stuff gets traction, it's kind of like the cell phone. Everybody on the planet wanted a cell phone. Well, everybody on the planet uses electricity, and everybody has to get around. So,
what do you think about the Texas running out of electricity?
you know, that's our next subject. We had a very strong cold weather snap here. Temperatures dropped to the single digits. We had an ice storm followed by a pretty heavy snowfall. We were out of commission for several days, and Texas went through a very rugged spot. And they had an individual power network.
They were blaming it on the solar panels and the wind turbines when actually they were not winterized enough.
We're in the apocalypse apparently, folks. You can't even deny it anymore. When that piece of propaganda came out, I'm like, thank you, Lord. What a gift from above.
Yep.
Anyhow, one of the interesting points I knew or noticed was the guy that got a $17,000 bill, which he just so happened linked his overdraft protection to his personal savings account. So they got the $17,000. They extracted it from his bank account. And what happened was something that Jack had been talking about a long time, and I've harped on a little bit, which is this factoring. So they factor how much electricity goes into a quadrant, and then they distribute that cost evenly over the amount of users in that quadrant. And what happened was all these people had their electricity shut off, so there wasn't people in the electrical grid to disperse that costing out over, so they just simply concentrated and sent it to the few people that still had electricity on. And that may have been a very fatal flaw of the electrical industry, because you probably haven't seen much on that in the news, and they're probably trying to do everything they can to keep that from being made public. But that's another very serious issue.
Yep.
They are factoring electrical cost over geographical areas based on their cost of electricity.
Yeah, I saw a couple of videos on YouTube of people with solar panels, and whoever had the Tesla Powerwalls, they had most of their systems kind of up and running just for backup power. And but still they had to go through all that kind of instruction, legalities and paperwork to get it installed in their houses. But if you had a power safe, you would,
if you had one of ours, you'd be safe. Or a Model 3 battery.
Grid, and yeah, the Model 3.
You've got your own power plant. So we did get some calls. We had several from Texas, and we made several sales down there. So every time there's a power outage, we hear at EVTV, the phone starts ringing because people realize what it means. If you just have solar and the grid goes down, you're out. And
so we had a little bit of less sunlight because our panels were kind of a flat angle. So whenever we had 8 inches of snow here, this is the most amount of snow I've seen in the past 5 years that I've been in Cape, and it just kind of blocked the panels. But if your panels are on the roof at an angle, then since the panels are glass, any snow that falls on it just slips off. And I've seen a couple videos of that on YouTube too, where it starts snowing and it just simply just slides off the glass, and that just makes it perfect for the winter time, because when it snows, it's still bright outside. Like you can see even at the night, it's kind of bright. So you can get a much more efficient solar conversion to electricity because it's colder and you have a lot more sunlight on sunny days. Solar still works, and we kind of had it where since we had a different angle, we didn't get as much sunlight. But soon as the ice started melting, we are back up and back off grid. We are back on solar, and
we're back.
So
I predict now. The one solution: Elon Musk sent a generator. You know where he sent the generator? To the turtle aquarium in Houston. I thought that was magnanimous, whatever you say. That was the humor. That was the irony of the situation. The man that makes electric batteries and the electric car sends a diesel generator to save frozen turtles, sea turtles, during a crisis in the middle of Texas, a very serious crisis.
And did you have any bust pipes too?
I had frozen. I didn't bust.
That's good.
We had all together in the vicinity between the two. We had one busted pipe and one other frozen pipe.
Yeah, it was a very
My
cold.
shower drain froze too, so I had to go to the other shower.
It was a cold snap.
It was a very cold snap. But anyhow, which we've talked about here before, the large battery backups like they're using in Australia would have been a perfect fix down there. And I believe a whole lot of people are going to start rethinking this whole grid situation, because had they had some sectional grids with a very large battery storage system that could have relieved the pressure, they basically had too many people wanting too much electricity at all the same time. So a battery backup and a different section grid would have helped them. Of course, they also unplugged to everybody else.
Yeah.
So they were completely isolated. So I predict that although it was a tragedy, but it also was a wake-up call. We've got to start rethinking the grid, because basically the eastern half of the U.S. is on a grid and the western half is on a grid. And we all have those potential vulnerabilities. So maybe Elon will sell some batteries out of this whole deal. It's common. I mean, the power walls are popping up, and they're rolling now. So I'm sure a lot of people are getting a little bit more motivated. And you're starting to see more mainstream TV stuff. Now, we're still in the off-grid business, basically, not grid-tied. So,
what do you think about the charging network for electric cars now?
Well, I was going to get into that, and I saw, the Mach 3 is getting a lot of talk, and it got a lot of press. It's got a 75 kilowatt pack. It's got a 98.8 kilowatt pack. And doesn't say a lot about the range. It just calls it a standard range and long range. But yes, the main issue with the vehicle and the main advantage Tesla has is the superchargers. And I can tell you, and I had a personal experience, we had the Model 3 here, and we had an individual that was within the circle of influence here at EVTV, both shall go unnamed, who always wanted to use the Model 3. However, they disconnected our Model 3 supercharging because it's a salvage vehicle.
Yep.
And that may be the biggest mistake Tesla has ever made, because everybody just realized how important the supercharging network was. And when I realized that, and this other person realized it, people don't want to use the car. It's a neighborhood car. You can't drive down the road.
Yeah, the salvage cars became city cars because they can't drive anymore further than that.
But it flagged how important supercharging is. Supercharging, by the way, is DC to DC. When you regular charge at a level 2 charger, your AC power comes in AC to the battery charger in the car and converts to DC. In a supercharging system, they communicate in a different protocol, and it just switches that out, and it skips that charger in the car and just flows in as straight DC.
Yep. They basically have a bigger charger on the side of the road and converts the high voltage AC into the DC voltage of the battery, and then just direct connection to the battery. So instead of using the small charger inside the car, they have a bigger charger on the side of the road.
And it is the secret sauce. It's what everybody wants. And I'm going to tell you something, Ford is going to find this out. Hopefully not the hard way. I wouldn't be worried about cars. I'd be getting superchargers everywhere I possibly could. That's the secret sauce to the electric car business. Jack has said that for years. I can tell you that after having an electric car, after supercharging, and then not having supercharging, it completely changed my attitude towards the car and my wanting to use the car, because I can go in a direction 20, 30 miles, stay out there and be at comfort knowing that I can refuel. If I got to stop for 4 hours to get the car filled back up, I'm not going to St. Louis for that. I'm not going to sit in a parking lot that long. And that is something that these Mach 3 owners are going to face if they don't get something going. Now, Charge America, or Charged or whatever, has the charge point, has a DC fast charger. It's Chatamo. Have you guys ever seen Chatamo? It's like a fire hose. So they've got a giant gap in their whole business strategy. They've invested billions of dollars in a cool car. And guys are going to realize, I ran around, burnt the tires a few times, and by the way, electrical battery consumption goes way up above when you ride faster than 80 miles an hour. Don't ask me how I know, but I can confirm that your battery goes way down when you get up there zipping around. And those Mach 3 drivers are going to be riding around, and they're going to have an empty battery pretty quick, and then they're going to have to sit while they're in the mood to be driving their cool car and wait for 4 hours. I don't think so. But anyhow, you know, the word has been out. The charge network is the key, and they don't listen. I don't know. It's going to be 2025 till supercharging is out for some of these major car workers, and if that's the case, it's going to be 2026 before they start selling a lot of cars, because people are going to drive to see their sister 100 miles away and they can't get back. You know, it's a big deal. I hope they wake up. Anyhow, we are still in the solar battery business, and we still got the Model 3.
Yeah.
We've been working on some of those.
Yeah, the Model 3, the biggest problem is when it's flat on the ground, it takes up a lot of floor space. If only we had a fix for that.
I think we got a fix. Zeke has dubbed it the Fishbone. So let's go take a look, see what we got out on the floor.
Let's go out to the floor.
Hi, this is Rich Flingy, and we are here with our latest development at EVTV. As you know, just the same as in Mr. Jack Ricker's tradition, we've carried on being innovative and working with electric vehicle parts and battery storage. And this is Zeke Zoo over here.
Hi, guys.
Who gets claim for naming this device. He said, that looks just like a fishbone. And so this is the Model 3 full pack fishbone rack. As you can see here, this is a full Model 3 battery in a vertical position. And if you notice me standing beside it, it's narrower than I am, which is not that hard to do. And I always say, Jack really liked this joke. So when I was young, I wanted to be 6 foot. I didn't mean 6 foot around, I meant 6 foot tall. And that's the same thing with me. If this battery is thinner than me, it's gotta be pretty thin. But this is going to allow end users a completely different footprint and dimensioning when you get to the Model 3 full pack solar battery build. You can put these in much smaller sheds. It has a mobility wheels on the bottom. It's going to be $1,495. That's $1,495 as an addition to your Model 3 purchase. And you can slip it in a small garage shed or up the side of your garage area into some type of a solar build. And it makes really the battery a whole lot more useful. So we're going to give it a spin and you can see how mobile the device is. Okay, Zeke, let's give it a pull here.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
There we go. These are still pretty heavy batteries, though. But there it goes. It's very solidly built. Now, we got this design and information from a customer, from a friend of ours, Mr. Mark McKay in Perth, Australia. And one of the things that I always like about the job here at EVTV, we talk to people from around the world. We get different ideas. We love our customer feedback. If you people that purchase product from us and are using it and give us ideas to make it better, we like those. So shout out to Mark, and we certainly thank you and what your crew did. But this item is going to be available. It's available right now. You can purchase this Model 3 with the controller pack and the battery. So, and that's still, you know, a very good bargain. It's 75 kilowatts for a little over $20,000. So I'm Richard here at EVTV. You can call me, get on the phone, go to the website, and we can get you one of these going. But this is going to change the way you relate to a large battery pack. The first few builds we did were all in a horizontal position. They're flat, they're much more difficult. They're very awkward to handle, actually. And this makes the system a whole lot easier. So we've got this now in the store. We do have them production ready, and we paint them in yellow. You know how Jack loved everything yellow. It's a safety yellow. And we're going to call it the Fishbone.
Fishbone.
Model 3 full pack Fishbone. Give us a call here at EVTV and we'll get you a Model 3 going. Well, in this section, I did want to talk a little bit about Jack Rickard. He's now been passed about 5-6 months, and we want to keep him in remembrance because he had a great passion for all this. And the reason I'm here is because of him, and I always pay tribute and honor him. This is his famous magazine cover from Broadwatch magazine, and it was related to the fact that Microsoft was making so many interactive software catches and glitches that made you constantly have to interact with their system and really the coming internet. Now, the story about Jack was that he was really involved very early in the bulletin board system, the BBS. And this is also a documentary that they did on the phone up, dial up, that really was before the internet. Jack accumulated the phone numbers, and he started out making a typed out sheet of phone numbers of particular boards, and he peddled it to subscribers while attending various almost out of the car trunk computer junkie shows across the US. But he truly was one of the original trailblazers in the internet, and he studied and worked at that, and he built basically a collection of a phone list up into the magazine that you see here, Broadwatch. And the Broadwatch, because he was so early in the industry, became a very influential magazine for product review, concepts reviews, and the growth of the internet market. And Jack really was a part of that. And I certainly know that several tens of thousands of these covers and these large posters were sold. And even I'm sure Mr. Bill Gates had one himself. And that kind of shows his intent way back in the day, which of course is if you bought a Microsoft product, you got to keep buying something to keep it running. And Jack smelled that out a couple decades ago, and it certainly is true today. But That's part of the legend of Jack. He was there when they were chopping down the trees to build the internet. And he certainly needs to be remembered for that. Now, he did sell out of that company. He made a small fortune, and really he dedicated his life to the electric vehicle and sustainable energy and solar and those things that we continue to hold dear at EVTV. So when you support us with product purchases and watching our videos, it's a whole lot more than just buying a product. You're buying something from one of the real pioneers and somebody that put their heart and soul into developing it. And we certainly are on a mission here to help the future of the human race have a better relationship to energy and electricity, and to live cleanly and live freely on the planet Earth we've been given by God. So anyhow, always stay tuned to EVTV. We appreciate your comments. We certainly appreciate your business. And let's keep this mission moving forward. We can save this planet, I guess, one battery at a time, but it can be done. So we'll see you next time on EVTV.